Hi, we're here in Rangoon, Burma, with the President, the first U.S. President ever to visit Burma. We landed here this morning. We're greeted by extraordinary crowds of people welcoming the President on the way into the city. He met with the President of Burma, Thein Sein, and discussed the need to move forward with reform efforts here and build on the extraordinary progress that's been made to begin a transition to democracy. Then he was able to visit Shui Dagan, the most holy cultural site here in Burma, an ancient pagoda that has been a symbol for the country for many hundreds of years. Then he was able to go to Aung San Suu Kyi's house. And it was a very powerful moment because this is where she was put under house arrest for so many years, persevering on behalf of her people until she was finally released and able last year to stand in an election and get elected as a member of parliament. So Aung San Suu Kyi received the President in her house, and they were able to have a good discussion in a small room around a table, along with Secretary Clinton, who's with us on her last foreign trip with the President as Secretary of State. We're here at the embassy where the President was able to greet the staff and thank them for the work they're doing. And then we're going to move on to the University of Rangoon, where the President is going to lay out to the people of this great country the future they can have if they continue down the road of promoting democracy and advancing human rights. Burma's come a long way, but they have a lot further to go to make sure that the reforms that have begun are consolidated and a democracy is able to take root. If they do, this could be a huge opportunity both for the people in this country, for the relationship between Burma and the United States, and really in setting an example for the whole world that you can move out of a path of authoritarianism and onto a path of democracy. So we're having an extraordinary visit here, and we'll move on to Cambodia after this, and we'll keep you updated, of course. Thanks.
Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the President made a historic trip to Thailand, Burma, and Cambodia, attended the East Asia Summit, and pardoned the national Thanksgiving turkey at the White House with the first family. That's November 16th to November 22nd, or Hello Burma.
Myanmar Nangan Minglaba.
On Friday, the President met with congressional leaders to discuss ways to reach a balanced approach to strengthen our economy, support middle-class families, and reduce our nation's deficit as the looming deadline of the fiscal cliff approaches. Bright and early on a sunny Saturday morning in D.C., the President began his journey to Asia, traveling 18 hours on the plane, but 24 hours on the clock. On Sunday afternoon, he arrived in the Kingdom of Thailand, America's oldest ally in Asia. On his first trip abroad since his re-election, the President met up with the Secretary of State and kicked off his visit at the stunning Wat Po Royal Monastery, where the head monk introduced him to sacred Buddhas in exchange for removing his shoes. Then it was on to the Government House of Thailand for his official welcome ceremony, guest book signing, and bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Shinawatra. Later, the two leaders hosted a news conference before adjourning to a formal official dinner. On the way to his hotel, he made a stop to thank the embassy staff for all their work on behalf of the United States, and to give a special thanks to some of the youngest family members in the crowd. On Monday, the President and Secretary of State began a truly historic journey to Burma, the first for an American president, on their last foreign trip together. After a colorful arrival ceremony, they were greeted by thousands of people lining the street as they traveled to meet with President Thein Sein for a bilateral meeting at the Parliament building. And then to the Shui Dagan Pagoda, the holiest cultural site in Burma.
This is about nearly 250 years old.
The President and Secretary of State met with Nobel Peace Prize winner and opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi at her home, where they spoke about ongoing efforts to support and encourage Burma's democratic transition. Then it was on to the American Embassy, where they thanked staff, their families, and more adorable kiddos.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That's beautiful. Who's got a pump? Who's got a pump?
Before traveling on to their final stop in Burma, where the President reflected on his historic visit in an address to the Burmese people.
United States.
There you go. That's me. Today I say to you, and I say to everybody that can hear my voice, that the United States of America is with you, including those who've been forgotten, those who are dispossessed, those who are ostracized, those who are poor. We carry your story in our heads and your hopes in our hearts. Because in this 21st century, with the spread of technology and the breaking down of barriers, the front lines of freedom are within nations and individuals, not simply between them.
That evening, the president traveled on to Cambodia, touching down in his third country of the day, where he attended the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN Leaders meeting, then joined up with all the East Asia Summit leaders, who had all donned their own versions of batik shirts for the occasion. Meanwhile, at the White House, 12 hours away on the clock and on the other side of the globe, the First Lady was hosting the National Arts and Humanities Youth Program Awards, the country's highest honor in this field, which recognizes exemplary programs around the country that foster the creative and intellectual development of America's youth through education. Beforehand, she gave some words of advice to the students from the Mariachi Master Apprentice program of San Fernando, California, who are both honorees and the entertainment for the event.
You make all this happen on shoestring budgets. You do it in unbelievable ways, in some of the most difficult circumstances imaginable. But you keep on doing this year after year because you have seen firsthand the transformative power of the arts and arts education in the lives of young people across this country.
On Tuesday, before the East Asia Summit officially convened, the president held bilateral meetings, first with Prime Minister Noda of Japan, and then Premier Wen of China. Then it was time for day 2 of the East Asia Summit, with the group gathering for the traditional family photo and getting down to work at the plenary session. The president capped off his visit by taking some time to thank the embassy staff, their families, and then, well, you guessed it, it was time to go home. Continuing on with his journey eastward and completing a circumnavigation of the globe, the president returned to Washington early Wednesday morning, just in time for a very special pardoning. On Wednesday, the president and the First Family pardoned one very grateful gobbler for the 65th anniversary of the National Thanksgiving Turkey presentation and wished American families a warm, safe, and healthy holiday. Later, in that same spirit of Thanksgiving, the First Family contributed some time, effort, and elbow grease to a capital area food bank service project, assembling care packages for those in need. To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
All good? What's your name? Nice to see you. Timinzo. Barack. That's it. Okay, man. Thank you.